record and intro. We're back. I like this hook. You got a book you want to tell us about? Well, let's talk. There's no other place to do it. Only on Catch Da Craze. Catch Da Craze. Welcome to Catch Da Craze. I am your host with the most, Sam the Crazy Man Vera, and I am with
George, the Dreamer.
Set it off, yo.
Oh shit! Holy cow!
What up, Georgie?
What up, man? What up? What up?
What's up? Good, good. Who's on our show today?
Today we have Macroverse.
Nice.
They're a group of individuals with a really cool website. Actually, let me see if I can.
If I could get to change that because I got the old. Hold on. There you go. You can't get it to any?
And I don't have a password.
Yeah, I had to change the guest screen. And and speaking of that, see, I should have used the time wisely.
Right.
And what's the topic today?
Today, the topic is niche versus gimmick.
All right. Niche versus gimmick.
When we're putting out a book, is it a niche or is it a gimmick that you're trying to
Isn't that a Nietzsche?
Is it a niche or is it a gimmicky?
Niche?
But we're gonna get into that and talk to the guys. I know we're running a little late here, but what have you been up to?
Surviving Corona.
That's gonna be like a topic every time because
every time, dude.
It's crazy. Bro. It's crazy.
It's crazy. It's like I remember. I think I've been on home lockdown for. This is day number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 days. 13 days, yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, and was it social distancing, isolation? It's been crazy.
Well, they shut you guys down in Jersey, right? Yeah, they shut us down. Obviously, I mean, like what, the 13th or something over here, or maybe the week after that. I was in Newport, Rhode Island, the weekend before everything just went to crap. That was the final thing I was able to do was go out there because it was my girlfriend's birthday and we went out there and we chilled. Right. And we get back to New York and boop, shut it down. They shut it down. The week after it was done. It was like, I mean, and they had to, it's like, what are you gonna do? Yeah,
no, it's no joke, and I think there's a lot of knuckleheads out there that not taking it seriously, putting people at risk. I'm really not fond of what some of these kids are doing and knuckleheads are doing, where they're going behind people and coughing and sneezing, especially elderly people.
Yeah,
it's like where were you raised? In the woods, you have no social skills, and you're putting fear into people's hearts, and for what? For your own entertainment, because you want for clickbait, you want to put put things on TikTok or whatever and get laughs. I think that's it's just very disheartening to see what's going on. It's all fun and games until you're caught up with it, until the corona gets you.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like I can tell you, I was bedridden for 7 days, thinking that what do I got? I have migraines and body aches and fever, and I'm like, whoa, this is how I'm going out. I was like, damn. I said, so I'm playing. This is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hot. This is why I'm hot.
So you were legit bedridden, like you could not move, like you were.
It was horrible. So I didn't have respiratory issues at the time. I didn't have coughing, none of that stuff. I had migraines, body aches. I I went from extreme highs to extreme lows, like very hot to like all of a sudden like my hands are frozen, like I got shivers, and it's like it was crazy, and then everything hurt, like the blankets hurt, you know, it was like oh man, my hair hurt. It's like man, and then it wasn't until yesterday all those pains went away, but then I felt like it was hard to breathe. So I remember you and I were supposed to have a call, and I was like, nah. I set it up for later on because I needed to go to bed. I told you I had things to do. That's what it was. I was like, I needed to go. I felt like I ran a marathon and I was winded.
Yeah, you did say you had things to do. You lied.
Yeah. I was like, it's like I gotta tell everybody that I'm like, I got. It wasn't Budweiser, it was Corona.
Oh, wow.
So you don't know what it is. And today I feel a whole lot better. But again, I didn't take any drugs or anything like that. I did everything all herbal stuff, and soups and teas, and I'm good now. But you don't know, But I knew that I wasn't willing to go outside and affect anybody if I didn't know what the hell I had.
Yeah, no, of course. That's the thing. Like you have to think about that. Okay, now you feel better. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I feel a lot better. Although I had to record a message on a hotline for work, which was about 3 paragraphs, and I had to do it a couple of times because it was 3 paragraphs, and it was like I was winded. I was finding it hard to breathe through it. I'm like, what the hell? I said, what's going on? I felt like I ran a few rounds in the gym. So I think I'll be 100% by Friday. But I feel good. I ain't going to run or anything.
Right.
But so let's talk about Niche versus Gimme.
Yes, so get your meds. The topic is niche versus gimmick. So, all right, so I thought this would be something fun to do and just to break down basically what niche versus gimmick is. So, I'm going to tell you a topic and you tell me, do you think that's niche or do you think it's a gimmick? All right? Zombie books. Do you think that's a niche or do you think it's a gimmick?
That's a gimmick.
You think it's a gimmick?
I think
you think writing about zombies is a way to just get readers, not necessarily a niche.
It was a niche at here's what so you had a period where you had Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, all the right, and then which spawned a whole bunch of different things, and then it dipped. Then you had Walking Dead, right? So then Walking Dead spawned all these other things, and you got World War Z, and you got all these other things. So everyone knows that zombie flicks is a moneymaker. You put a zombie in it, you're good. So I think it's a gimmick.
All right, well, the definition of a niche is...
A niche market is something that works. I get it. But I think they're using the zombies as a gimmick.
Relating to product, services, or anything that appeal to a small population.
This boy's trying to school me.
No. So by that definition, not necessarily you, just anybody listening. So by that definition, though, that zombie book is a niche.
It's a niche, yes, but everyone's using it as a gimmick.
But you look at it as a gimmick.
It's a gimmick. I think it goes back to that topic that we talked about.
We will
in the future that we're going to talk about in the future, right? I'm catching on, right?
There you go, baby.
Right. Which was refresh my memory. What was that topic again?
Oh, censoring yourself.
Censoring yourself. No, was it? No, but we were talking about trend chasers.
That was. Yeah. We were talking about that in there. But
yeah. So it's almost as if like you have. What I appreciate about Robert Kirkman, what he did with The Walking Dead, he's found a different spin on it, right? Right. He found, but so he understood. He saw the niche, and he had a gimmick. Boom, and shake the room. I just think
All right, the next one. You ready? Alternate covers.
That's a gimmick. That's definitely a gimmick.
That I agree.
Yeah.
I can't even defend alternate covers. To me, there is no reason for it. Like,
hey, yo,
sell more books.
I was guilty of it. Remember Duty?
Well, when we you were
had the Matrix cover, had the Rambo cover, had the cowboy cover. Yeah. I was like,
okay. Yeah. All right. Here's another one that you're probably gonna think is a gimmick as well. Vampire love stories. Is that a niche or is that a gimmick?
Well, vampires is a niche, So I think
Okay.
just the whole concept of vampires, and you got. I think I can't tell you how many TV shows on
Oh
vampires there
yeah,
are right now.
dude.
It's like
Stomach.
Vampire Diaries, and
Vampire Diaries.
it's like the
You go
last.
back in the days. Remember
Yes.
freaking what was that Anne Rice thing that they had interview with a vampire? You had
It,
an interview with a vampire.
yes.
You had Dracula. You had
Yes.
like a whole bunch of
You
stuff
had
there.
Love at First Bite.
Right.
I love the
Even the
nightlife. I like
wow.
to boogie on a disco high.
We
Way.
haven't seen the Wild the Crazy Man. We haven't seen the Crazy Man in a minute.
No, we haven't. We
But
haven't.
you were almost dying, so I
Yes,
understand.
I was. Yes, El Muerto.
But yeah, no, they had that. They had what was that? Oh, I was gonna say even Underworld. In Underworld, you had the Lycans versus the vampires, and
Yes.
you had that whole thing. So you think that's a niche, but could it also be a gimmick?
Yeah, yeah. They could be like, what was it? Vampire in Brooklyn, right? It's like, come on, that was a gimmick.
Eddie.
That was Eddie Murphy. That was horrible. It's like you got stupid stuff. It's like, come on.
Okay, all right.
But like Interview with a Vampire was a great take on
That was awesome.
it. You know what I'm saying? It's beautiful. Underworld, a great take on the story. It's but then when you have how many of these damn TV shows, and it's all the same thing, and it all intertwines, and I'm
So
like,
you, so what you're saying is a niche can turn into a gimmick
yes,
if there's no substance behind it,
right. You know exactly what it
right?
is. It's just like
You know they're doing it for the buck rather
yes,
than for the story.
Sharknado gimmick.
Like,
It's like that's a
yo, that
gimmick.
thing blew up.
Up.
Holy cow! It's like,
Was it Iron Ziering? Whatever he came out, he was gone since 90210. All of a sudden, he's a Hollywood superstar.
Yeah,
I was like,
he
what
was
the?
in that.
Yes,
Oh, I
yes,
ain't even seen that one of them. I ain't seen
yeah,
any of them.
crazy.
All right, the final one.
Uh-oh.
Tie-in books. The books that you have to buy this issue of Spider-Man, but the story continues
Yeah, that's a gimmick.
in Wolverine.
That's a
But
gimmick.
then it's going to continue.
That's a
Total
gimmick.
gimmick.
That's a gimmick.
Total gimmick.
That's just to make sales.
Marvel and DC have been doing it to us
Yes.
for years. The funny thing is that these gimmicks work, and I think that's what drives them is the fact that they do work.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Be honest with you, okay? Let's like you said last week. Let's keep when you're gonna say this in the future. You said let's keep it 100, right?
100.
Remember how Duty came about?
Yeah, I had stomach pains.
Do you remember?
Yes, it came back.
Somebody was writing about or wanted comic strips about aliens.
Aliens, yes.
And we went back to the table, and you were like, "I got one." Boom.
Yes.
And Duty was born.
Yes.
Now that was a niche.
Right.
Aliens. And the gimmick is make his name Duty,
Right.
make him come from Uranus,
Uh-huh.
and then you just think. I mean, we've been guilty of all of it, dude. All the covers and all that
Yes.
stuff.
Yes.
Now, does it work?
Yes.
Gimmicks do work.
It does. They do work.
Niche markets do work.
Yes. I think but yes. I think if you have the capital like Marvel does, or you have the capital like these big studios, you can afford to play the gimmick game. When you don't have capital behind you, the gimmick only goes so far.
Right.
That's where you need to have some sort of that niche. You have to have substance behind it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
In order to
That's
give
the
it
whole thing.
to give it longevity. You know what I mean? It's clickbait. It's like one of the things I used to be criticized for back in the day. Back in the days with the forums. Remember the forums? I used to go to war on those forums. Those damn nerds out there. Yes, those nerds out there. They get tough on the forums, right? So I'll tell that story another time. But
Yo, stories with Sam. We haven't done that.
yeah, I
in a while.
know stories.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe
So
we get time for that.
but yeah, they used to say because I would put these taglines, right? Like I'd put like this thing. It was like to get you to open up my forum. What am I posting in the forum? So I have this tag that grab you in. So people used to say, I'm tired of your damn things because it's like why don't you tell what it really is? You're lying to us with these taglines. I was like critically acclaimed, and they were like, what is it? Boom, and they open it up like we never heard of you. like, dude, I got 7 reviews. I'm like, boom, I'm good, right? So it's like, right? I would say, it's like, the savior of the planet, and they were like, what? Who's the savior? And they open it up, like, mother effer. It's like, has nothing to do with Marvel. And I'm like,
my God.
but that was the gimmick. There's
Yeah.
that hook, right? You gotta get them hooked, and then when they go in, hopefully they get locked into what you have, and they buy into what you're selling.
So you think that a gimmick and a niche can kind of live together?
Yes.
For an artist, and they can both work,
Right.
because you can use one for the other.
Yes.
But so does the niche come first, or does the gimmick come first? I guess the gimmick would come first.
The gimmick
to drive them into the niche.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You hook them with the gimmick,
Yes.
and then you're like, oh wow, I love manga.
Yes, because if you are going to do just another version of Dragon Ball Z, but you're calling it, Kickstarter B, how are you going to get people to buy into you when they have Dragon Ball Z? You're just another version of it. You need that gimmick, right? You got to get them, catch their attention. So I understand when it's necessary.
Okay.
But your Dragon Ball G, whatever it is, I mean, your whatever book you're trying to capitalize on, you better make sure it's good.
Right.
Right? And I think Robert Kirkman with The Walking Dead, I think was a great take on it. And that's what, so it, at first people who was like, I don't want to pick up a zombie. I was that guy. I remember because you were the one who was it that who it was you that introduced me to Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not picking up a zombie book, right? I was into Invincible.
Yeah.
And
the funny thing is, you put me onto Invincible.
Yes.
You were like, yo, check out this story, Invincible. And I was like, another superhero story?
Yes.
Come on.
But
and then I read it, and boom, this guy just took it to the next. Same thing happened with the zombie. Yeah.
Invincible was another thing, right? It's a different take on a superhero story, which I thought was pretty fascinating.
Yeah, no, and that was I always find that, like, we sometimes we have these discussions with the guys, like, oh, gimmick, niche, and I mean, I guess sometimes you need the gimmicks. I'm not a big, I hate, not that I don't want to use the word hate, but I don't really like gimmicks,
right?
Because I feel like, just let your book stand on its own merit. But I understand why you need them. Like you said, sometimes they are necessary. Hey, listen, nobody's ever heard of us. We have to put something out there that's going to drive, traffic or whatever.
Right. Yes. Yes. Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting though that you brought that up, because I was this close to going to Licensing Expo. And I was talking to them, trying to get a good deal, all this other stuff, and then this whole thing came out, and I was like, nope. I was like, thank goodness I didn't do anything. I didn't put
July,
it in,
right?
No, it's May.
Oh shoot, that's right.
Yes, it's in May,
Oh.
and a good thing I didn't, because I would that money would have been lost, because I think what a lot of conventions are doing, they're giving you a credit to the following time that they do it again, instead of giving you your money back, and I'm like, nah. So I was that close. I was weighing my options between Book Expo and Licensing Expo, and I was like, where am I going to get the biggest return on my investment? And I was like, all right, I got a bonus. And it wasn't huge, but it was enough to pay for what I wanted. So that's what I was negotiating. I was like, all right, let's see if I can get a good deal, because I'm sure they didn't sell all the spots. So maybe I can get like a nice rate.
And were you close?
I was getting close, and then it's like boom, this whole thing started.
Corona.
Yes, I was like, no,
Corona, bro.
That's it.
We were supposed to do the East Coast Comic Con in May also, and that was shut down. They actually moved it to July. I think maybe that's why I said that. They moved it to July 4th, which I was like,
the 4th of July. Who does that?
You know?
Who does that?
Yeah, what? That's what I mean. Like that could go either way. You're either gonna get a lot of people that don't have anything to do that weekend and maybe want to go there,
Nah.
or you're gonna get nobody.
Everyone's going to the beach. Everyone's going to
Yeah,
the beach.
yeah, I
Everyone's like,
know, I know, I know. So I'm kind of glad it didn't happen, but it kind of sucks because you want to get back out there, and
oh,
this thing
it sucks
was
for Adiba because he was scheduled to go to Mocha like what next month?
Mocha,
Yeah, he
yep.
was
And
supposed
he
to go to
was supposed to do
Mocha
Mocha.
and then end there, so he got hit twice.
Both, yeah.
Yes,
But
like
and I don't know what's gonna happen honestly with San Diego or
no,
what's gonna happen with
New
what are
York
these
Comic Con.
New York Comic Con.
Yeah,
I mean, they're still on right now. They're saying they're still on,
yeah,
but
they're still on because I did reach out to them to try to get into Artist Alley. We'll see. I was
there
like, you
you
know what?
go.
Because I was like, I gotta do one big show this year.
Yeah, you gotta bring it back.
And so they did reach out and they said, look, there's no guarantee whether or not we're going to do it, but we're going to move forward as if we are. But we need the following information from you as far as for the application process. I said, all right, whatever. So
Yeah.
I sent them everything and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, that is niche versus gimmick for today.
That's Nietzsche versus.
Next week, we're going to be talking about censoring yourself, and our guest will be Adela Brito. She's a writer, she's an editor, she's got a website called ForYourEyesEdit.com. So check that show out. And
Four eyes edit.
Four Eyes, yeah, what is it?
Four
Four Eyes
eyes.
Edit, right?
Yeah, you said for your eyes.
Oh, yeah, okay, Four Eyes.
Yes.
Four Eyes Edit.
Yes. Yo peguelos.
Yeah, and then we're gonna have the gentleman from Macroverse calling in at any moment. So you want to just freestyle it for now until they give us a call? Or
Freestyle it, and then I'll go to commercial. So if you see me abruptly go to commercial like we always do, it's because the call's coming in. They're like, these guys just cut short.
Yeah, they just go.
Yes.
But yeah, no. So yes, so the licensing. So you were going licensing versus
Book
the
Expo. So the Book Expo, they were giving me a deal on both the Book Expo and the book show, which is the Book Expo was for industry professionals and the book show was for the book con, the book whatever.
Oh, okay.
The book con was for the public.
Yeah.
And I was like, for the public, the reason why I was choosing to do licensing because I would have to spend a lot of money to get hard copies of all my stuff for the book con because that brings in thousands and thousands and thousands of readers. And so I was like, I don't have enough material for that show. I just got like 50 of each, and there's no way I'll survive with 50 of each in that arena.
Yeah.
So I was like, licensing, it's really, the whole purpose for me out there was just pitching my product and getting it into the right hands. So that's when I was like, all right, so the only thing I need to do is just make sure that I have my... Oh, we're going to commercial.
For commercial.
Oh, you gave him the wrong number. Hello?
Why are we hiding? I'm not hiding.
Yes, how are you?
I'm trying to catch it. Oh, what are we catching? What are we gonna catch? I'm trying to catch the craze. Catch the craze. The what? The craze? Like the disco craze? No. No. What are you wearing? What do you mean, what am I wearing? What are you wearing? I'm fresh. No one says fresh anymore. Why are you acting up? I'm not acting up. You acting up. Come on, man. Stop acting up. Candy girl.
535355. All right, George. So they called in the wrong number. So I'm having them call in the other one because I can't get it hooked up to our system. Yes, yes. They called the first number instead of the second number. Yes. So I just gave him this number. He should be calling me right now. Can you just text him just in case? Oh, I got it. Got it. All right, welcome to Catch Da Craze podcast. We have a very special guest on the line. It's a Macroverse Media. Who are we speaking to?
Hello.
Hello, this is Adam Martin, and
Can you hear us?
Yes, we can hear you perfectly.
There we go. All right.
how's it going?
You got Adam Martin and Eben Matthews. We're two of the three co-founders of Macroverse, and we're psyched to be chatting with you this afternoon, or
Sweet,
evening
man.
for you.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's great. It's a pleasure.
Thanks for having us. It's a weird and crazy time.
Yes.
Thank goodness, yes, but it is definitely a little crazy. You know, we write a series, and we can talk a little bit about this, but we write a series on the Macroverse app called Dead Town, which deals with the zombie apocalypse, or one element of the zombie apocalypse. And so it does feel a little bit like we're kind of living right before that or something. my standard,
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
like my standard greeting right now is, you know, happy pre-apocalypse. It's pretty interesting. And then go.
What you guys are doing. Tell us a little bit about what Macroverse is.
Absolutely. Adam, you want to take that first bite?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just so you know, Eben and I have been kind of friends and creative partners for years, and have both grew up with kind of a love of comics. Me with the British stuff, kind of 2000 AD, and obviously Eben here with with more the kind of monthly American model. And I mean, a few years ago, we kind of had the idea for Dead Town. That was the inception. And we're kind of kicking it around, and then decided, yes, we wanted to make this a comic, and then realized that we could do it in this digital kind of first way that was really not being, digital first was not being done properly, in our opinion, at all. And so we felt like, oh, great, hey, we can kick off with Dead Town and do something kind of cool and interesting and test out our ideas around what a kind of digital first, mobile first kind of comic experience would be. And when we felt that worked, we kind of took it on from there.
Yeah.
Nice, man.
So just I'll tag on that for 1 second. So I mean, Adam and I both come from traditional media backgrounds in one way or another. You know, Adam mostly in film and television, and me in all kinds of new media. And then both of us have worked together in animation and video games, and all kinds of interesting, fun stuff. And so, we have this kind of interesting, eclectic group of skill sets between the two of us. And so as we started to kind of think about, what did we, not just what should digital comics be, but frankly, like kind of what should comics be in this modern age? Everything is through this device in our pocket that we're all addicted to. Like what we saw was like, we'll always love the art form, but we didn't feel like the art form was evolving in a way that the rest of the entertainment world was evolving.
Right.
And that, this is not the best time to be saying this, because we certainly want the traditional industry to survive, but we also think the traditional industry has to change to, kind of become something that makes sense in the world that we actually live in. So that's really where we were coming from. And, we did a bunch of experimenting, and, right now we've got about 15 series on the app, which are live and running. We've got another 40 plus that are coming sometime
in the pipeline.
They were kind of in the middle of getting stuff on. And then we're bringing on new creators all the time who, we kind of with and connect with and talk about, kind of what they can do in our format and take advantage of that. And so, it's become this kind of really exciting thing to be able to not just experiment around, what are the opportunities on the creative side, on the storytelling side, but also really, to kind of feel like we're innovating around the business model and distribution and how we can help creators get paid and, all of those different industry, which, you have to be thinking about as especially an independent creator.
There are so many moving parts, right? When you're doing something like that.
Exactly. So yeah, we're having a blast, and we're just so, we love all the people that we're working with and the work that's being able to explore this kind of new frontier for comics that are kind of specifically made for your phone.
Sweet. So basically what happens is, so if say, for example, an artist is interested in working with you guys.
Yeah. Yeah. So we're not an open platform like YouTube.
Okay.
We consider ourselves kind of the HBO of comics. So we're highly curated. The biggest keeping a quality bar that we want people to know they can, kind of come to Macroverse and read anything and make sure that it's good. So there's a component of curation there, but beyond that, we're really not genre focused or, any style focused. Like, we really want to encourage experimentation around the types of stories that are being told and the stylistic approach to different things. And so, to answer the question specifically, it's like we have, there is a website up right now, that's macroverse.media. And there's a submission link on there where you can send us stuff if you're interested in starting that conversation. And then it's a really individualized process. Like, we're creators ourselves. So initially we, as Adam said, we kind of built this for ourselves and then, wanted to expand it to, more people and more projects. And so we kind of take each one to some degree, as a separate conversation, and we kind of try to work with each creator to do the things that they want to do and to lean into the things that they're interested in, while also encouraging, really taking advantage of the things that we think our format and our platform does better than anybody else. And so it's a combination of things. So we're not a closed door by any means. We're very accessible. You can hit us on social media or through email or whatever. But we're also, want to just make sure that everyone we're working with and every project that we bring on is just as good as it can possibly be.
Gotcha. And so the process of now, you're curating the comics, and then you see one that this will actually look kind of cool in our platform. Obviously you guys will do the formatting, and how long does that process takes? Like, somebody gives you their story, how long does it take before it actually goes up?
It's a combination, and again, sort of individualized to some degree. So we're basically working on different models. There's a group of content, and it's the majority of what's on there right now, which has had some life before Macroverse. And so we're material to the platform, working with the creators to, kind of adapt and bring it into our format. And so a good example of that is one that we absolutely love is this company called Hex 11. It's an incredible creator. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's great. Incredible. It's like the true spirit of independent comics, because it's as good as any would find on a shelf at a comic store, and yet the all female creative team that makes this book have never gone through a traditional publisher. They've distributed themselves the entire time. They've built this fan base all on their own. So it's like the true kind of like indie spirit of just, top notch, indie comics. And so we met them, and we, fell in love with the work, as a lot of people have, and we just, wanted to bring it onto the platform. And so in that case, we're working very closely with them to, get all the original assets and format it in a way that makes sense for the platform. And then we've got other series, like, I'll call out another one called Glitch, which is an original title. Our series Dead Down is an original title. So those are made specifically for the platform. Right. And we work with creators in that case to, really understand how to lean in and take advantage of what we can do that, other people can't. And then, we kind of, because we have a creative background and a production background, we can kind of handhold through the first part of it to make sure that everybody kind of knows what they're doing and feels comfortable. And then people are just kind of off to the races, and we, support them every way that we can as they get stuff ready and put it up.
Yeah, I love the fact that you guys call them episodes. So like you have like a
Yeah.
Macroverse original series, episode 1, and it's like you're ready to binge watch. Like you're almost like, all right, I'm ready. You know, I like the way it's branded, and I like the what you guys have done with that. The original titles, are they original titles because you guys created them, or they were created for the platform? I wasn't clear about that.
Yeah, it's a
One of these right now. So Dead Town is truly original, and that is Eben and my idea, and we've had that kicking around for a while and developed it out as a comic, and we have a big plan to take that on from this and blow it out in the world. And then Glitch is one that Eben, actually, you found them on Instagram, right? And then approached them about doing this in as an original title for us. So it's a combination. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a combination, and we're kind of seeing now that we've kind of proven out the concept to a degree, and people can see what this is. We're tilting more now towards the other side of that, where more stuff that's being specifically crafted for the platform is coming on board. And so it's we're kind of it's all the challenges of making comics, plus being a technology company, plus building the back end of all of that, plus the production cycle. So we fortunately have the ability to do all that, but it just is a lot of working with people, which is also part of what we love. So it's super exciting for us to go, here are all these tools, here are our thoughts on what works best here. Now go play and experiment, and we'll work together to kind of find the thing that we all feel like makes the most sense and tells the story in the most dynamic, interesting way. And I'll just if anyone hasn't seen the app yet, I mean, it's part of what we're talking about is what was important to us is really keeping what makes comics comics. So what we don't. Some people have the feeling, oh, it's digital, so you must be adding sound or motion or those sorts of things. And we're not doing that. So, we want to keep the art form what the art form is. But instead, we've developed this tap-through format. And so instead of an endless scroll like something like Webtoon, you're tapping the screen to advance the story. And so what that does is it introduces an element of time as an extra creative thing that you can play with. And so if you have a character that needs to get from point A to point B, you could do that over the course of 3 taps. You could do it over the course of 30 taps. And you can imagine the impact that has as someone who's reading or an audience member, so to speak. It's a completely different experience of that portion of the story. And so that's the thing that we really encourage people to lean into, is being able to add that as an element. You don't have the constraint of the printed page, so you can do dialogue in a way that sometimes is good in a physical comic. And you kind of get to treat every tap like a page turn, so you can genuinely surprise people. You can genuinely land a joke, in a way that you just can't in regular comics for the most part. So it's that's the thing that we think is really kind of our innovation and the thing that makes it unique, as a storytelling experience. And it's the thing that we kind of work with our creators across the board to really take advantage of, to kind of think about.
Download free, and first episodes of everything and some complete series are free. And then after that, actually the first couple of episodes mostly are free, and then it's a $4.99 kind of all-you-can-eat buffet subscription a month after that.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so kind of a Netflix model for comics. I mean, I think most of us would agree we've moved into a world now, especially if you're hopefully kind of we're not as young as we might sound, but if you're
what are you talking about? I don't know.
I'm like, how old are these guys?
74 and halfway.
Yeah, right, exactly. 126.
But I think we've moved into a culture where we care more about access than ownership, and so that's another area where we can kind of be a little bit innovative, where it is a sort of subscription model in the way that Netflix is. We want to keep the price very low, so it's super accessible. So it's basically kind of the cost of one print book per month. You've got unlimited access on Macroverse. And then we'll just keep adding more and more to it. So the library will just get more robust. We'll have other, things that we're kind of talking about and building into the pipeline down the road, where we've got ways to connect with creators and kind of service the fandom, portion of the experience. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun and just more and more cool stuff coming on board.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now, let me ask you a question about like because I'm looking at your website. When you download the app, is there a way you have to hold the phone to view the story the best? Do you have to hold it vertically or horizontally? Is that a thing, or does it matter?
We're living in a vertical world.
Okay. Okay.
So we think this is one of the decisions we had to kind of make early on that so I'll kind of say it this way. I mean, Adam and I, in all the creative work that we do, one of the things that we've come to over the years is just lean into the things that make the thing, so to speak. So, writing for television, there's specific things that you want to really embrace about what makes that format great. If you're writing for comics, traditional comics, like, you don't necessarily want to do the same thing that you would do in TV. You want to lean into the strength of the medium. And so when we started, thinking about what are comics on a phone, the strengths of the phone are, it's always accessible. It's always with you. We're kind of conditioned to kind of dive into these kind of short experiences, those bite-sized but binge-worthy, kind of approach to content. And then we're generally holding our phone vertically. So if we go to watch a movie, yes, you might turn it sideways because you want landscape, but that's not naturally how we hold our phones. It's not how we browse Instagram. It's not how we use, social media. So we just go, let's just figure out how to make that really work as opposed to fighting. And so that's a lot of our approach, to most things. Is just, how do you really take the thing that is the most natural, that is the most kind of the way that it's quote unquote meant to be, and make that a strength instead of fighting it. So that's a very long-winded answer for their vertical. Right. Yeah.
You throw the phone across the room, it breaks, it gets bad. Yeah. No.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, so it actually those videos on our Instagram profile are literally screen grabs from the episode. So they're not animated themselves, but every time an image changes, that's a tap. So essentially, you get this more cinematic kind of feeling to a lot of the episodes, just due to the nature of the format that we've developed. But it's not on autopilot. So it's not a lean back experience in the way that you would watch a movie. It's you're tapping
interactive,
story.
But it does get that. It develop that kind of semi-animated feel in some of the sequences, because you are able to, with the sequences in Dead Down, you've got a guy walking down the street and there's stuff happening around him, but it plays like as if it's a tracking shot in a movie. And that's very much what, because of our background in kind of traditional film and television, we wanted to bring that kind of cinematic sensibility to this platform. Yeah.
That's awesome. Can you guys tell us a little bit about where your backgrounds are in as far as that goes?
Absolutely. Adam, take it away, man.
Oh, sure. So I've spent the last 20 almost years as an assistant director in film and television. So, Transformers and Italian Job and a bunch of movies over the years, and then recently in TV. So Superman and on Hulu, and Black Monday is currently out on Showtime, and so that's been my kind of bread and butter for the last 20 years. And then Eben and I have been writing together and had our own animation company in that time, and have done a bunch of video game projects and that kind of thing as well. So that was, kind of traditional film and TV was is how I grew up and where I came in. So, and then Eben comes at from the other side, and so the kind of joint skill sets actually work really nicely.
Yeah, so I have an illustration degree, so I started off as an illustrator, graphic designer, and then I started a branding and marketing agency, which I ran for about 18 years. And so for that time, we were doing, this was this, you will now be able to figure out my age because that was the heyday of the flash animation boom on the web. That's what I'm talking about. So lots of bells and whistle kind of websites and trying to explore interactivity on the web. So that was what I did for a while. And what brought Adam and I together creatively is first we became friends, and then the funny part of the story is we became friends because I recruited him into a network marketing company. That went away, but the friendship remained.
Yep.
And over time we just realized we both were kind of heading in the same direction where Adam kind of was always focused on the storytelling part of being in film and TV, and for me my first love was comics and storytelling, but I'd kind of gotten away from that doing all this kind of interesting and very kind of cool in a lot of ways work, but also very much for other people. What we both kind of came to, we want to essentially be telling our own stories, not just doing client work in one way or another. And so that's what initially brought us together, and we wrote a script together, and we were fortunate enough to have that first script get optioned, and so that gave us, like to think of as not false confidence, but a little bit of confidence to move everything forward. And so, from that point on, even though we both continued to do other things, we've also had this, kind of core creative partnership, and that's taken us into all kinds of interesting places. And so, a lot of animation work, a lot of video game work, but more importantly, it gave us outlets to write and direct things together. And so we've a lot of different kind of mostly new media projects, writing and directing, and then that kind of all coalesced into what now is Macroverse.
That's awesome.
So it's interesting. Yeah, it's been an interesting kind of windy road, but I think that the kind of huge positive of that is I do think we have this actually kind of bizarrely uncommon, combination of skill sets. And so I think gives a real kind of interesting point of view on a lot of this stuff.
It works. It works. What has been the reception of Macroverse? Well, are you guys getting a lot of positive feedback, or what are you guys getting?
Yeah, incredibly positive. We're not to pat our own backs for 1 second. I mean, we are 5-star reviews across on the App Store, which is cool. So all the people that we've talked to who have read stuff on the app, or the people that have been engaging with it, have all been very positive. I won't say more importantly, as importantly, the thing that I get the biggest kick out of is the reception from other creators. Because same things that we were trying to address by creating this, the overwhelmingly positive reaction has been like, oh yeah, those are the same, challenges or problems or things that I had, wished there was before. And I feel like we're really addressing something that as an industry, hasn't been addressed in a way that's really worked up to this point. And so, we really, to be super humble about it, we really want to kind of revolutionize the whole comics industry top to bottom. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Well, yeah. Yeah, so let me actually clarify real quickly, just so we're being accurate. Got 15 titles that are live right now, and we've got another 40, actually more than 40 at this point.
More than 40 now, yeah.
That are on board and in the pipeline. So, we're wrapping up, so for example, we're wrapping up the first season of Hex 11 this week, and then we got a new series that's launching next week, and so we're kind of at that kind of kind of cadence. So almost like
an ongoing new episodes constantly. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So again, sort of taking a lot of cues from television. It's why we call them seasons and episodes. But it's again sort of like an HBO model where we've got a lot of content in the pipeline, a lot of great content that's on the app that becomes sort of the bigger, the kind of ever expanding library. And then, you kind of know whatever comes out is going to be good. Like, again, that's sort of our main point of view. So to now answer your question, I would highlight 2 series only after not saying our own Dead Town. Yeah. That's fine. I mean, hey, we can talk about that too. We've just okay. Now I have to make a sidebar on the Dead Town, but you gotta find a better apocalypse to escape into than the one that we're dealing with right now. So that clearly is the zombie apocalypse.
I think actually it's a worse one, so it makes this
makes this one feel a little better. Yeah. That's true. At least we don't have to worry about you eating each other. At least not yet.
Well, not yet.
So to circle back on your it's really hard to just highlight 1 or 2 because we really do love everything that's on there. I mean, we're really quite enthusiastic about every series. You could pick any one at random and we could ramble on about how great it is for a period of time. I do want to kind of go back to Hex 11 though, because I am absolutely
so great.
Yep, so good, and it is the combination of elements for me. I love the story. I love the characters. I love the world that they've created. I'm a big world building, guy. So I love that as sort of a bigger universe for characters and stories to play in.
But
they picked it. Oh, go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, so I'm just to pick it up, just because you're completely right, but it's like they talk about it, they refer to it as Harry Potter meets Blade Runner, which is just some of our favorite things anyway, so it kind of checks every box,
Yeah, so it's Harry Potter meets Blade Runner, and then the other thing that got me when we first came across it is it's sort of like, what if we lived in a world where just like you can download an app, you could download magical abilities. I just think that's such a cool for a world. So really do love that series. Lisa, who is the co-creator, or really the original creator, and then the artist of it, she's a super incredible, illustrator. She's another person that, I always love this kind of story where she's worked as a professional illustrator for years and years and years and years, but always wanted to make comics. Idea, and then kind of finally just decided, okay, I'm doing it. Screw it. And then they've been able to really develop an audience around it on their own, which again I just find so inspiring and admirable. That for people to know, that you've got this creative thing that you want to do, and to just do it and do it and do it and do it, and consistency, builds relationships, and when it's good, people notice, and that I love that. So, I love all of our children on there, but
I think the other one I've got to flag as well, just because we're both huge fans of the movies. It's the Boondock Saints. So I'm not sure if you guys know that movie.
Yes.
But it's we've got it's comic series based around that, and that it's so satisfying to kind of. That movie was such fun. I mean, both of them. We love both of them. The first one especially, but it's just so good that I think having that kind of tie-in series for us up there, it feels pretty special,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and for any Boondock fans listening, what's also really cool about that is it was written with the original writer-director of the film. It's not an adaptation; it's a companion piece, so it fills in extra parts of story and adds new story, and it's lots of fun. And if you're a fan of the movies, you'll definitely be a fan of the comic series.
You'll feel Troy Duffy as the movie's writer-director, and you'll definitely feel his fingerprints all over it. It's great.
Yes, it's definitely got his style all over it.
I'm actually at the site as it scrolls by. I'm looking at it. It looks great.
It's a lot of fun. And then just to, we won't talk as long about them, but just to shout out a couple of other series which we love for, kind of different audiences. So there's one on there called Billy Smoke, which is has a very feel to it, and that's written by D. Clay Moore, who is an Eisner Award-winning, comic writer. That one is an interesting story in that it is a graphic novel that he and Eric Kim, who's the artist, finished years ago, but it never got published. So this is, while it's not made exclusive, it is exclusive to Macroverse. So you can't read that anywhere else. It's really cool. And then we've got this little series of shorts, which we're just in love with, called Side Quest.
Yeah.
So this is sort of this, it's a little bit of a comedy series. They're really short episodes, so they're designed like really snackable, kind of jump in, read something, get amused, and then either keep reading or move on. But it's the basic premise is, if you're kind of in a Dungeons and Dragons, kind of fantasy world, and here are these kind of two characters that, are trying to be adventurers, but just can't be adventurers.
Failing at it constantly. Yeah.
Failing miserably along the way.
I like the art style. The art style is very simple, but it's very cool looking,
Yeah. Yeah, it's got a real kind of classic, to me, kind of a real kind of classic, comic strip, feel to it. It's that one's really great. And then the other thing I'd love to talk about for a second. I mean, Adam may want to shout out another one or two. We'll go Jason Brubaker for Remind, if you like Nausicaa and Miyazaki. Like, it is gorgeous and absolutely their gem on the platform. And then we just launched an initiative called Art versus Apocalypse, which is really
I was going to ask you about that. Art versus Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So the idea was, I think in times of challenging times and times of crisis, there's a rich history of artistic expression, really being able to make a difference. People are facing challenging times. And so, in the small way that we can kind of impact that, we wanted to do two things. One is we wanted to invite creators that are saying something with their art, especially in comic form, to be part of an anthology series on the app itself. So we're working with a whole batch of creators to either do original stories or adapt existing stories that they've already done around what's going on with the whole COVID-19 crisis, and bring that onto the app. And then also just on Instagram in a small way, anyone that wants to be part of the kind of art challenge on Instagram or part of the collective on Instagram, just hashtag Art versus Apocalypse, and we're just sharing all of that, our accounts as well. So, just in whatever ways we can, I think it's important to, be able to, as creators, just express ourselves and encourage other people to express themselves, as, we're all dealing with this in the ways that we deal with it. And so, for some people that's, having a hard time with being quarantined, or for other people it's like, oh, this is the party that I always wanted with myself, and everything. So I think it's just a way that, as much as we can encourage people to just share what that experience is, and try to build a sense of kind of creative community around it.
Yeah.
And are you guys gonna, when all this is over, and hopefully once we are able to get out there, are you guys hitting the road and doing any shows or doing any of that?
We will be. We were planning on being at San Diego Comic Con, and then we launched at LA Comic Con last, November? October, right? So, yeah, no, absolutely. We were we had the team that creates the glitch on Macroverse were going to be at, no, it wasn't New York, was it? Where were they? East somewhere.
WonderCon,
that was it. So it was like, we were, they were, we had plans for all sorts of stuff, but of course all that is somewhat on hold, unfortunately.
On hold, I know. I know. Well, hopefully we'll get back to it, and I'd love to meet you guys. So hopefully we'll run into one another at one of these shows, or plan something out.
That would be awesome.
No, absolutely.
That'd be fantastic.
And we do love connecting with people. So, even in this time where, it's hard to be in person together, if anyone, has comments or feedback or, anything, we love that. We love hearing from people that are using the app, or from creators that are kind of thinking about what they might do with the app or with the format. So, we're pretty easily reachable on Instagram or through our website. And we just not hopefully we can keep it positive, but we really do enjoy kind of the feedback and the dialogue around just trying to make something cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. Well, guys, thank you so much for being on the show. For anybody out there, macroverse.media is the website. You can follow them on Instagram at Macroverse. And thank you so much, guys, for coming. I really appreciate
as well.
it.
Thank you so much, guys.
But
really
it's
fun.
at Macroverse Media on Instagram as well.
Macroverse Media.
There you go.
Yes.
Thanks,
George,
guys.
thank you so much, man. Really enjoyed chatting with you.
Have a great
got it.
evening.
Thank
Good
you.
luck. Take care.
Thank you, guys. Good luck. Take care.
All right.
I'm waiting for you to rap. Come on, George.
Oh, I thought it was a commercial, bro. Dude, how good was that, man? That was pretty good.
That was really good. I mean, these guys are like no joke. They're doing their thing.
Yeah, I don't know if you were on the web because I can't see, but
Yeah, I've been on their website. The website is playing on the video. You can't see my screen, but yeah, I've been watching the whole thing, and the caliber of talent that they have. I don't know what the stories are, but the artwork is pretty fantastic.
Yeah, no, it looks really, really good, bro. Really, really good. Yeah, I saw them on Instagram, and they're always posting stuff, and some of the stuff looks like it's animated. So I was like, oh, animation. But I'm glad that they cleared that up. It's not that they're animated. When you click, it almost looks like there's movement because you're clicking on the page. Right. And what I like about it is almost like it's designed for the phone. So when you go to the next page, like there may be a panel, but in the background something's going on. So your eye is like moving all over the screen, and I think it's great.
You're playing with my visions.
There you go. Wow, that was good.
Yeah, it was that was a really good interview, and it's it's crazy. Remember, I don't know if I said it on this show or the previous show that we recorded. I gotta get things in order. But remember, I told you that when I was on my deathbed, contemplating, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Then I run into cats like these guys, and I'm like, and I get sparked again. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. I said that's why. It's like because
this is motivation.
It's motivation. You know what I mean? It's you can't knock the hustle, and that's the fact that they're putting in their heart and soul into this, and their passion. You can feel you can hear their passion. You know what I'm saying? They're knocking their age, but they're as giddy as teenagers.
Dude,
you know what I mean?
It's like they're like little kids when they're talking about the thing that they love, and that's what it is, and that's what this medium does, bro. Like, here these guys are that were. I mean, from their backgrounds, it sounds like they were, they're heavy duty into this. They're in the fields, and they're like, nah, let's go do this because this is what I want to do, and here they are.
We talked about that, right? It's like forget about what everybody else is doing. This is what we want to do. Exactly. You know what I mean? And that's you can't. They're creating their own path.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And they have a clear vision for what that is too. You heard him. It's like what do you look for in submissions? Well, it starts with the caliber of the product. You know what I mean? It's like the entry has to be visually appealing, and the story has to be able to complement that. The visuals. Boom. So they actually know that if we're going to put our name behind it, we want to make sure that it complements what we're doing as well.
Yeah. Is that you?
No, that's you.
Oh, and there's always that element of, okay, we're gonna do this to help others out, but we also want to put our stuff out there at the same time. Right. And there's always that you fight with that, but they're doing it very well because I actually really do like their Death Town, the look of the Death Town story that they have up there. But then there's all these other stories that they have, and it just
I was fascinated by that you said that was just the first time I've heard about them was through you.
Yeah.
And so then they got 40 titles in the pipeline. They got 18 currently available with 15 whatever, and 40 in the pipeline. I'm like, damn. You know what I mean? It's like, all right. And then I look at some of the product, and I'm like, oh, this has got some really good stuff. Makes you want to go and download the app and follow some of the subscribe to some of the books.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
no,
know?
definitely.
Yeah.
As soon as we get off the phone, I'm gonna download the app and just see what they have over there because it's definitely enticing. When you look at their website, you're probably gonna end up downloading that app.
Yeah. So so now we're gonna flip the script for a second to you for a second to Wonder Duck, right? So I know recently you just announced that you had a bookstore picking up your stuff in where, Cali?
Texas.
Texas. And was the photo that you showed me, was that photo that you took of your hard copy? So you were sending it to them directly?
I was sending it to them directly. Yeah. So what's happening now is on Instagram, a lot of because Diamond distribution shut down,
Right.
and comic book stores are not getting anything from Marvel or DC. They have started to look for independent artists because we always have stuff.
Right.
Like, dude, we have stuff.
Right.
So it's almost like crack. They're like, yo, we need it. Send it. So they're giving us a shot. So JM DeSantis, the Darkfire Press, my publisher, he actually got in contact with he's got a couple of stores that he's talking to. The problem is Kablam has shut down. Kablam's not printing right now because in Florida, they're not an essential business, so they're not printing.
But aren't you,
For the next 15 days.
Can't they put their order through Ingram?
Ingram. So that's the other. But they want to see what the pod looks like. So before they place an order.
So why can't you just send them a PDF?
Where are we at? Where are we at? Well, so that's part of it also. And then because obviously I'm going to run out of these things.
Right.
But for the stores that I can send stuff to.
Right.
You know, I'm sending, novels and stuff like that. Some of them have already signed invoices that say, yeah, send us this amount of books.
Right.
And we'll put them in the store. So.
Right.
Yeah,
because I was pretty. I was curious when I said, okay, wait, so you
Call
still
me.
Huh?
Call me.
I got you here. I was like, you know what? Let's have the conversation so that the listeners can hear, the hustle, right? So, there's a hustle behind your story. So I'm giving you a plug, homie. So, and don't mind the fact that I haven't shaved my neck or my beard at all. But so you're still grinding as well, rather than still dependent on the natural order of business, the distribution.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I think that has to continue to happen. I can't just sit back and say, okay, let Darkfire Press take care of that for me. You know what I mean?
So
me personally.
So they want to see a sample of the product first.
Well, this particular store bought books.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
They wanted them. They were like, you got them, send them. Obviously, if there are people who are looking to see, let me see what you have.
Right.
We're not going to send them 5 books.
Right.
Hey, see if you like it. No, we're, only if they've actually said, yeah, good to go, send them. So I have them here. So I'm like, yeah, I'll send whatever I have.
Nice.
Whatever it takes.
That's it.
Whatever it takes, bro.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I was like, oh, look at that. He's going into the back of his trunk and he's delivering the stuff himself.
Yeah, bro, to Texas.
That's it.
And crazy, yeah, man. You should look into them. Planet C Distribution. It's a group on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Planet. Plan C, like Plan B. Plan C Distribution. And there's a lot of information there about stores, because what they've done is they basically called out to some of these stores, hey, any stores interested in independent publishers. So those stores are like, I am, and then it's built a channel for communication where now it also says, hey, any independent artists want to get into any stores. I do. So they're like the middleman, where now they're putting these two pieces together and vaya con Dios.
Nice.
Do what you got to do.
Nice.
So yeah, check them out.
Oh, so here's Carlito. He's moving a lot of weight downtown, and
exactly.
They're hustling. Speaking of plugs, if you don't know, this is I'm gonna change screens.
Yes.
This is Duty. This is available on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles as an ebook. So this is into my toilet. If you haven't checked it out, go to Amazon.com or BarnesandNobles.com and get your ebook versions. The hard copies will be available soon once I lock down a print-on-demand distributor combination.
Are you doing limited runs, or you're doing like more than 100? There's a few of them. I mean, obviously Kablam is down right now.
Well, I'm not planning on printing no. So what I want to do is, like, I'm researching Ingram. I want a one-stop shop that they're going to get it into the stores or whatever. So if anyone wants to, I'm not going to do, like, for instance, Ingram offers exclusivity. So I'm fine with the the paperbacks, and I'm fine with them having exclusivity with like Apple. But with Amazon and Barnes and Nobles as the ebooks, I'm going to do it myself, and I'm going to let them do the hard materials with Amazon and Apple. So this way, I don't have to worry about formatting it to Barnes and Nobles for hard copies. Whether they go directly to the distributor. So that's I'm right now. I'm reading all the contracts. I'm going through all the stuff. I want to read word for word. But so basically, if I'm going to do appearances, then I'll go and print out a run of 50 or 100, whatever it is that I need. But I'm not going to be selling and going to the post office myself or anything like that. I'm just saying go through Ingram. And so I'm just looking at all the fine print, reading the fine print.
Do whatever. I mean, do what works. Do what works best, man. I mean, it is what it is. You're gonna. I mean, you're doing different things. So whatever you.
Yeah. So I'm gonna keep I'm gonna keep an open platform with Amazon and Barnes Nobles as far as the ebook's concerned, but I'm gonna give them the rights with Apple and the other online vendors that do ebooks, and I'll give them the exclusivity for distribution to all the bookstores and the big bulk places like the Walmarts and Costco's and all that other stuff.
Wherever they can get in.
Yeah, wherever they get in. And they get into all these places. So working on that, doing my research. I've been watching a lot of other people's testimonials and their ups and downs with Ingram and the challenges and the things to avoid and all that stuff, whatever. So, you know how I am. Once I'm done educating myself.
They also provide ISBNs for you too, if you need them.
Yeah, no, I think it's even more expensive. So I think that
No bueno.
Yeah, I'd rather just buy it in bulk. And then because I have a lot of titles.
Right.
So
how you do.
Yeah, so that's why I'm looking at budget wise because they charge $50 per title. So I'm like, all right, let's get past this Corona pandemic crap first, and when everything gets back in order and it's safe enough to spend some money. But I'll probably just test the waters with just one title, but we'll see first. I don't want to make any commitments if this pandemic decides to last a lot longer than it needs to.
Yeah.
Because until everybody's able to go back to work, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. But I mean, I hear you.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Well, next week.
Yeah.
Next week on the show, Adele Brito. Don't forget, tune in.
You're good, man. You're good.
Yeah,
I was like, huh?
Next week.
I said, wasn't that
Next
just a
week.
minute ago?
And
Yes.
and at the end of the month, we're gonna close it out. We don't have a guest on the 24th, but we'll be talking about just how do you pick your artist if you're a writer, or you're a writer if you're an artist, and we'll be going back and forth, Sam and I, with that. So you guys can check that out. Maybe we'll have, I don't know, maybe we can get a surprise guest. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see.
The night is young.
Yes, I know. And then
and Sam, go on I Write Stories?
I create stories.
iCreateStories.com.
Yes.
MedinaWhip.com. Follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
Join the YouTube channel.
Yes. If you are watching this,
There you go.
subscribe to our YouTube channel. Join. Let us know what you think. If you are listening to this in whatever platform you're using, whether it's iHeartRadio, whether it's Spotify, on Podbean, follow, subscribe, like, let us know. And we are a weekly show consistently. We've been a weekly show since we relaunched back in September. And we're going strong. So we appreciate all of you. In fact, on the next show, I'm going to give a shout out to the new 50 people that are now following on Twitter. There's a whole lot of cats, so thank you all on Twitter because that's the fastest growing platform for us right now. But again, and stay safe, stay healthy, keep your distance, right?
20 seconds. Wash the hands. 20 seconds.
I don't have the patience. But yeah, I just, I carry a bottle of alcohol and I spray my hands. Tap, tap.
Holy
I was like, sa sa. You know, the funniest thing was I was watching. I don't know if it was on TikTok or YouTube or Instagram. I forgot what it was, but there was some sort of people applying for something, and the lady on the other side of the counter, and she's wearing a mask, and the guy who's processing her is wearing a mask, right? And she sneezes, and the guy was like he was like the Wild Wild West, because he had a bottle of spray. As soon as she went, he sprayed the crap out of her. He sprayed her, and she went. And, you know, she did the right thing. She had a mask on. She did the right thing. She went to her elbow. And she turned, but he still went sa sa sa.
Still got it.
He didn't care.
You never know. You can't be too safe.
That poor woman.
Anyway,
She's not blind.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I'm saying the crazy man, Vera.
George, the dreamer, Medina.
Yeah.
Peace.
It's just it's not.
Crazy. I'm so crazy. You so crazy.
Acquiesce.
Crazy.
No, it's talking about my friend Acquise. I met him the other.
You so
Say my name, say my name, right?
This is what you were thinking?
He described me. He said, "I'm the." What?
Catch the Craze.
You're listening to Catch Da Craze. You're listening to Catch Da Craze.
To Catch the Craze.
You are listening to Catch Da Craze on Catch Da Craze.
You're listening to Catch the Craze.
Candy girl.